This episode is sponsored by Kinsta. Between juggling client meetings, managing your website, and keeping up with everyday tasks, who has the time to stress out about website security? Well, with Kinsta, the technical stuff is taken care of, so you can focus on what you do best. Kinsta provides managed hosting for WordPress, offering lightning-fast load times, top-tier security, and unmatched human-only customer support. Whether you're a business owner, web developer, or running a digital agency, Kinsta makes managing your website easy and efficient. Kinsta provides enterprise-grade security, being one of the few hosting providers for WordPress with SOC 2 and other certifications, guaranteeing the highest level of security for your website. Thanks to their unlimited free expert-led migrations, Kinsta ensures a smooth transition for you from other hosting providers. Customers have reported 200% faster load times post-migration to their platform. What I find cool about Kinsta is their fast and reliable customer service and premium features that are included at no extra cost. Ready to experience Kinsta's hosting for yourself? Get your first month free when you sign up at kinsta.com today. That's KINSTA.com. Today's episode is brought to you by RapidCloud. Did you know that 53% of users abandon a website that takes more than 3 seconds to load? For businesses relying on WordPress, every second counts for user experience, conversions, SEO rankings, and revenue. And that's where RapidCloud comes in. RapidCloud is a high-performance managed WordPress hosting solution with advanced technologies like Lightspeed Enterprise and Object Cache Pro designed to deliver lightning-fast load times and handle the demands of today's dynamic websites. Whether you're running an e-commerce store, online learning platform, or a bustling media site, RapidCloud ensures lightning-fast performance, unmatched scalability, and enterprise-grade security, all backed by 24/7 expert support. RapidCloud empowers developers, business owners, and agencies to deliver seamless online experiences without ever worrying about downtime or slow load times. Use the promo code CODESTORY to get up to 25% off on all annual plans and 10% off monthly subscriptions. Offer valid for 2 billing periods only. That's promo code CODESTORY, all one word. Visit www.rapid.cloud and get started today. That's RAPYD.cloud.
We got stuck for quite a long time when we were at $10 million in revenue. And I believe that this is the ceiling that a lot of founders hit when they are unable to jump over themselves. I was one of them. Luckily, I got some help from the outside, built advisory board, then built the board of directors, brought management, brought head of finance, brought chief revenue officer, and that allowed us to eliminate Andrey, myself, from a lot of decision-making process and allowed us to grow. So I believe that it's not just about how many engineers you can hire, how many clients you can find, but also can you scale yourself? My name is Andrey Kudievskiy. I am CEO and founder of Distillery.
This is Code Story, a podcast bringing you interviews with tech visionaries.
Spent 6 months moonlighting.
There's nothing on the back end.
Who share what it takes to change an industry.
I don't exactly know what to do
took
next.
many goes to get right.
Who built the teams that have their back.
Company is its people.
The teams help each other achieve. I was proud of our team.
Keeping scalability top of mind.
All that infrastructure was a
Yes,
pain.
we've been fighting it as we grow.
Total waste of time. The stories you don't read in the headlines.
It's not an easy thing to achieve, mind
Took it
you.
off the shelf and dusted it off and tried it again.
To ride the ups and downs of the startup life.
You need to really want it. Not just about technology.
All this and more on Code Story.
I'm your host, Noah Labpart, and today how Andrey Kudievskiy is using AI to power premier software development, using nearshore engineers and agile experts. This episode is sponsored by Speakeasy. Grow your API user adoption and improve engineering velocity with friction-free integration experiences. With Speakeasy's platform, you can now automatically generate SDKs in 10 languages and Terraform providers in minutes. Visit speakeasy.com/codestory and generate your first SDK for free. This message is sponsored by QA Wolf. QA Wolf gets engineering teams to 80% automated end-to-end test coverage and helps them ship 5 times faster by reducing QA cycles from hours to minutes. With over 100 5-star reviews on G2 and customer testimonials from SalesLoft, Drata, and AutoTrader, you're in good hands. Join the Wolfpack at QAWolf.com. Andrey Kudievskiy has always been fascinated by technology, and when asked about himself, he identifies as an entrepreneur. He has been a software engineer, database developer, administrator, and then jumped accidentally into management. But outside of his professional life, he is married with 2 daughters. He enjoys running long distance, and he's officially run 5 marathons, and unofficially, he's joined many more along the way. Right after he graduated from university, Andrey saw a fantastic level of talent in developing countries. At the same time, he noticed the amount of profitable opportunity in the United States and decided to build a business that joined the two. This is the creation story of Distillery.
Let me first explain the name. Because distillery, your mind immediately should be thinking about alcohol and the distillation process. The distillation process is actually what we do. We take great ideas and distill them down to something really interesting and produce a really good product from raw components. I believe that I've been working on this for over a decade already, yes. We started as a database development and mobile app company. We were working with a lot of entrepreneurs who would come to us with their ideas. We'll take them, we'll try to distill them down, get the best components out of the raw ingredients and publish them to the App Store or to Google Play. As a matter of fact, we've been featured by Apple several times. We built applications who got millions of downloads, and that's not an exaggeration, those are real numbers. Lately, we actually transitioned and transformed ourselves into AI-enabled staff augmentation company. So we help other businesses with our talent, which is located in Latin America, in Mexico and in Argentina, to build their vision, to propel them faster, to allow them to hit the market sooner than they could without our help. That does not mean we stopped building mobile applications or doing other things, but more and more I see us as a business helping other businesses and transitioning from what I could call a technology company into what really is right now a professional services business. And honestly, I like it. I like helping 50 other companies to become better by using one company, us. I started Distillery with a group of friends right after university. These people, some of them still with the company and some of them left, started their own businesses. For me, the vision of starting Distillery was I saw the really good level of talent in what I call those developing countries, and then an immense opportunity in United States where you can make different amount of earnings doing the same amount of job and the same quality. So there was a disparity between the amount of really good companies and the amount of good talent. Good companies are located in the United States and good talent is located elsewhere outside. By saying this, I don't say that United States doesn't have good talent. United States is full of great talent, but also the talent is actually equally spread across the globe. So we, on our hand, providing the access to this talent in Latin America, and we find the best engineers and we match them with the best clients. So it's a world best talent working for world's best companies.
Tell me about what you would consider the MVP for Distillery, right? So I ask questions, and you build a lot of MVPs, you and your team, and I ask questions a lot about products on this show, but I'm curious about for Distillery, what would you consider that first version of your company?
It's a small, agile team, 3, 4, 5 people that is capable to deliver results on the first sprint. Usually when you start hiring your internal talent, you're going to get person number 1 joining the team. Then if you're lucky, 2 weeks later, or usually 1 month later, you get the second person, third person, and so on and so forth. The first MVP of Distillery is when we were able to put together a team that worked together on different projects already and was able to come and start working on the client's projects and submitting the code that can be used in production on day 1, day 2, day 3. So that would be my definition of what MVPs for services businesses like us.
What I want to dive into next is decisions and trade-offs. When you are building your company in those early days, so you mentioned it kind of started right after university, you have to work through how you're going to start. Tell me about some of those decisions and trade-offs you had to make and how you coped with them.
Number one, start alone or start with your friends and with the help from family members and such. For me, that was a tough one to make a decision. And ultimately, in the past, I had my fair share of experience working with co-founders and other people. And I really wanted to be responsible for success myself and for the failure myself. So I decided to be a sole founder, which may or may not have been the absolutely best decision, but that's my decision. The trade-off for this is you're a one-man army until your company grows. If you fail, if you get sick, if you just somehow miss the mark, then it's on you. And the upside is also quite obvious. If things are going well, you will also benefit from this. Once I moved to United States, we got into a situation when we have a co-founder, which I later bought him out, and it's been a good journey together. Another trade-off is going wide or going deep, going shallow or actually diving into something. Working in a professional services business, you can be known for one specific industry, or you can be known for several, or overall being a trainer. We have always tried to cast a wide net in terms of the number of clients we work with, but our specialization has always been towards mid-market plus to enterprise business. I believe that this is also a trade-off. When you work with startups, it's fun, it's sexy, it's exciting, but the trade-off is startups die. They leave you with some unpaid bills. You have to churn through them often versus getting to a project with a client in the enterprise scale, those who already grew up. It might be less exciting. They might not use the latest and greatest technologies. But what they do well, they pay your bills, even with 90 days after once you finish the project, but they do pay them. And there is a constant stream of work. So you ultimately have to choose one or another. And the teams that you use, the developers that you hire, they have to be comfortable with either one model of work, startups, late nights, weekends, Friday commits, versus you go to the other side, enterprise, a little bit more stable, but also sometimes a little bit more stale. And your work may include working with slightly outdated technologies, moving things from monolith architecture to microservices, versus with startup world, you actually start with microservices and you go. I believe last but not least is the focus and the concentration as a company that we are right now, professional services company, not a technology company, but we're building technology for our clients. Do we want to stay in the professional services businesses, or do we want to actually build at some point projects and products internally at Distillery? I will be honest, we've tried unsuccessfully building several products. The trade-off is that you lose focus, you lose concentration, you lose money at the end if the project is not successful, and we are always doing this with our own investments rather than going after venture money. You could use this attention and energy somewhere else to build your own business, to build different offerings, to become advanced in Gen AI and so on and so forth, versus what ultimately results in the waste of time trying to become whom we are not. So going into product world versus staying in the professional services businesses and knowing what the differences are and how you can't really do two things at once. I believe that this is another area where the choice was quite obvious, but it took me some time to figure out what my comfort level is. Will I never be building a product that can grow 10 times a year, 10x, versus building a company that's stable, growth 15, 20, 30, 40% every year, and going into what I call less exciting, yet equally challenging business, staying on the professional services side.
This message is sponsored by SnapTrade. Link in-user brokerage accounts and build world-class investing experiences with SnapTrade's unified brokerage API. With over $12 billion in connected assets and over 300,000 connected accounts, SnapTrade's API quality and developer experience are second to none. SnapTrade is SOC 2 certified and uses industry-leading security practices. Developers can use the company's official client SDKs to build investing experiences in minutes without the limitations of traditional aggregators. Get started for free today by visiting snaptrade.com/codestory. This episode is sponsored by Speakeasy. Whether you're growing the user adoption of your public API or streamlining internal development, SDKs can turn the chore of API integration into effortless implementation. Unburden your API users from guessing their way around your API while keeping your team focused on your product. Shorten the time to live integration and provide a delightful experience for your customers. With Speakeasy's platform, you can now automatically generate up-to-date, robust, idiomatic SDKs in 10 languages and Terraform providers in just a matter of minutes. SDKs are feature-rich with type safety, auto-retries, and pagination. Everything you need to give your API the developer experience it deserves. Deliver a premium API experience without the premium price tag. Visit speakeasy.com/codestory to get started and generate your first SDK for free. Okay, so tell me about how you built your team. And, I heard the early days, some friends from uni, but, a lot of time has passed and you've built this successful company. Tell me about how you've built the team. It's the developers and it's the folks that are non, it's the whole company. Tell me about what you look for in those people to indicate that they're the winning horses to join you.
We currently have several hundred engineers, and we are by and large a company of developers built by developers, and our clients are also developers in the past. Usually they're CTOs, Chief Technology Officers, CIOs, Chief Data Officer and such. So developers, they're divas, right? And I can say this because I was an engineer in the past and I know that I had a lot of options. How to get there where we are right now is to never sacrifice on the quality and be an employer of choice. Meaning, once you have more than 5 people, you can start thinking about the actual structure that you want to build. The first 5, I said it already, bunch of friends. Nobody knew who will be the CTO. Nobody knew who will be responsible for a certain department. But as soon as we stabilized at this very first level, then my mind was, all right, what if the company is 1,000 people? How would I see the structure of the technology delivery department? What would it look like? And by no means I had a path to get to 1,000 at this point. But I started to think that for every technology, we need a head of department. This is how we call them, HOD, head of department. Then every technology can actually be split by several. So if we have head of mobile department, let's split them by head of Android, head of iOS, head of cross-platform, and so on and so forth. And then you start thinking and building this pyramid. And every time when we make a new hire, we try to assess 3 things. Number 1, do we have someone in our team whom we can promote into this position? If that's a no, which does happen, let's go outside and let's try to interview the best person possible. Now, that comes with a challenge, because if you have exceptional contributors, individual contributors, they might not have the skills to assess what the leadership will look like in this specific technology. One of the tactics that we employed when building Distillery was, let's get someone from the outside who is in the industry, field CTO, those are the positions that we call them, and let them interview the talent that we need to lead our department. And make sure that their only parameter is this person going to be a great technologist and a great leader? That's actually 2 parameters. And then don't sacrifice on this. In the pandemic, we doubled our size. I know that some companies tripled their size, but it actually backfires when you start hiring too fast and you're sacrificing on the quality. We never did, we never will. So the goal is to, again, the strategic assessment of what you're missing, look into your own team. Is there is someone to promote? There is no one? Look outside. But then there is also a third component. If you have someone who has been manager of your team, and sometimes technology, it's a problem for all the delivery companies. The technology outgrows the leader. The person who has been fine to lead a department of 5 engineers, when the department grows to 50, you may look into a potential replacement of this individual and ultimately bringing them 1 level below to manage a good department of 5. Not all great engineers become great managers. And sometimes you do lose a very good engineer and you do not find a good manager by promoting someone. And some people, they get stuck at the position where they are comfortable and they know that they can expand to 50 people. As soon as the department grows to 51, they start to struggle. They start to struggle managing their schedule, managing the workflow that we have outlined, and so on and so forth. One last thing that I want to mention is this talent also wants to be treated well, feel belonging to the company, feel culturally aligned, and also, for us, that's very important, to be placed on a good project and on a good client. It's not a secret that in Latin America, working for US companies is seen as a benefit. This is what we actually strive to. We want to have our talent to work for US clients and those US clients that are well-known brands. I cannot stress enough how many times we got feedback from our clients saying that they feel that our team members belong to them. They're part of their team. And that's the best feeling to me. That means that we did a very good job by finding the right talent and the right place for them. What we also do is we assess and collect feedback from clients as well as from engineers, asking them if they are willing to go to the next year and to the next contract with the same person, or is that the time for us to rotate? Sometimes you have a great engineer, great software developer who just is not aligned somehow, either culturally or in terms of the growth plan. Some project, they stabilized, and this engineer say wants to build something new, wants to try new technology, but there is no place on this current project. My goal is for them to never leave distillery, but to rather find a new project for them within distillery. So that's a retaining part. For us, we actually measure this very religiously, how long engineers stay at distillery. And I believe that our latest comparison is that we have engineers staying at distillery 2.4 times longer than in competing companies and competing businesses.
This message is sponsored by QA Wolf. If slow QA processes bottleneck your software engineering team and you're releasing slower because of it, you need a solution. You need QA Wolf. QA Wolf gets engineering teams to 80% automated end-to-end test coverage and helps them ship 5 times faster by reducing QA cycles from hours to minutes. With over 100 5-star reviews on G2 and customer testimonials from SalesLoft, Drata, AutoTrader, and many more, you're in good hands. Ready to ship faster with fewer bugs? Join the Wolf Pack at QAWolf.com to see if they can help you squash the QA bottleneck. This episode is sponsored by Vanta. You're a startup founder. Finding product market fit is probably your number one priority. But to land bigger customers, you also need security compliance. And obtaining your SOC 2 or ISO 27001 certification can open those big doors. But they take time and energy, pulling you away from building and shipping. And that's where Vanta comes in. Vanta is the all-in-one compliance solution helping startups like yours get audit ready and build a strong security foundation quickly and painlessly. How, you ask? Vanta automates the manual security tasks that slow you down, helping you streamline your audit. And the platform connects you with trusted vCISOs to build your program, auditors to get you through audits quickly, and a marketplace for essentials like pen testing. Join over 8,000 companies, including many Y Combinator and Techstars startups who trust Vanta. Simplify compliance and get $1,000 off at vanta.com/codestory. That's VANTA.com/codestory. This message is sponsored by SnapTrade. Link in-user brokerage accounts and build world-class investing experiences with SnapTrade's unified brokerage API. With over $12 billion in connected assets and over 300,000 connected accounts, SnapTrade's API quality and developer experience are second to none. SnapTrade is SOC 2 certified and uses industry-leading security practices. Developers can use the company's official client SDKs to build investing experiences in minutes without the limitations of traditional aggregators. Get started for free today by visiting snaptrade.com/codestory. Let's flip to scalability, and this will be super interesting given you are a professional services business building technology. So there is probably technology that helps you, but it's really you're scaling people and teams. So tell me about how you approach that. And have there been interesting areas where you've had to fight it as you've grown?
In terms of scaling, We have our own limitations within company because we are ultimately limited by how our clients scale and how their projects are feeling. That's what I call a glass ceiling, because sometimes no matter how much you convince the client partners that we have that you need to invest into this certain area because it will ultimately result in high revenue and larger market share, there might be no budget or the company's strategy is slightly different. So for us, we try to provide our absolute best advice and position our clients to, here is what you need to do to grow from the technology perspective, and this is where we can help. But sometimes our own ability to affect the decisions are limited. We worked in the busy environment, and if you don't grow, you die. Even if you're staying flat, you still die, because staying flat, you still need to increase the bill rate because you need to adjust for cost of living adjustments and for inflation. And that means that if your revenue is not growing, then you're literally declining in terms of how the business is going. We got stuck for quite a long time when we were at $10 million in revenue. And I believe that this is the ceiling that all the founders hit when they are unable to jump over themselves. I was one of them. Luckily, I got some help from the outside, built advisory board, then built the board of directors, brought management, brought head of finance, brought chief revenue officer, and that allowed us to eliminate Andrey, myself, from a lot of decision-making process and allowed us to grow. So I believe that it's not just about how many engineers you can hire, how many clients you can find, but also can you scale yourself? If you don't have this ability to check your ego at the door, look at what you're not good at and bring the people who can help you to be good at these things and ultimately are better than you in every area that they are responsible for, then your growth will be limited to how high can you jump.
So as you step out on the balcony and you look across all that you've built with Distillery, what are you most proud of?
I believe right now they're a publicly traded salad company. I can order a salad on my phone, and I know that my team built a good portion of this ordering process. I can touch it with my own hands. I live in Los Angeles. You drive the 405, the highway, always busy, always staying in traffic. I can see two of our clients' names on the top of their office buildings. And I like to think that there is a 0.1% contribution that Distillery did into those company successes. I think last but not least, I've seen cases when 100-plus-year-old financial business that felt that they're at least 10 years behind their competition, and in reality they might have been even 20 years behind, developed a mobile application that allowed them to bring over 1 million users in the first 6 months, and the revenue from this app that can be contributed to buying products through the application or with the help of application was in many millions of dollars. And I know that we did it, I know that we helped it, and I'm blessed to live and work in the industry where you can see the results in the real world and they are tangible. And this is a good feeling. These are the moments that I am extremely proud of.
Let's flip the script a little bit. Tell me about a mistake you made and how you and your team responded to it.
Silicon Valley Bank, almost. They actually did go bankrupt very fast in a matter of 2 days, and we couldn't access any cash that was there. And there was a period in the company life when Thursday night, we're trying to log into the bank account. We understand that 80% of the cash reserves that we have are buried, are completely inaccessible. The payroll is on Tuesday. I go back to bed. I'm trying to sleep. Impossible. Friday comes, all the news, all the media saying that the bank system in the United States is failing. SVB is just one of the banks that is affected, and people don't know what to do. Saturday, silence. Sunday, I'm still not sleeping, not having enough sleep, basically punishing myself for why I decided to go with one bank and not spread the funds in 3-4 different pockets. And then Sunday night comes, we're seeing some news from the government coming that they're buying out Silicon Valley Bank. So this is the stupid mistake that is completely preventable. First, keep the money in just 2 different locations. Then you will always be able to make the payroll. Second, why trust a smaller-ish bank? SVB was well known in the startup community, in the technology world. If anything, they were number 1 startup bank. But there are banks who have been here for way longer and they're much larger. Trust them and work with SVB for credit line, for transactional stuff, but reserves should stay elsewhere. So diversify. That's the lesson. And it was very easy to fix. We fixed it as soon as the funds became available. We're now clients of one of the top 4 banks. It is unlikely that I will ever leave them. But let me tell you, no, I do not like how big banks operate, how slow they are, how their support is usually not the best, and how they rarely understand the needs of the modern businesses. So I will give a credit to SVB. They did their job well. Second mistake. During pandemic, we grew a lot. As I said, we doubled. However, that was at some point somewhat mindless growth and not backed up by a longer term vision. We got into areas where we were not comfortable playing. We built some departments that ultimately should not have existed. As soon as the craziness was over, those departments did not align with the company vision. It's like, all right, now let's reassess. And what do we do with these people? Some are trainable, some are movable to different projects, some are not. And then you go through a round of letting these people go, which you should not have hired. We are a team of exceptional engineers, so let's be engineers. Let's hire engineers. Let's not get into the areas where we do not belong. That's another mistake that I believe if I would be staying true to the company core and the values and would not get into the area where we didn't need to be, completely, again, preventable, fixable, and we did fix it at the end.
Tell me what the future looks like for Distillery, the company, the team, and where you're going.
There is a little bit of uncertainty for the industry that we are currently in. And when I say uncertainty, it always comes with ups and downs, the benefits, the pros and cons. The abundance of Gen AI solutions right now, we're seeing that it's affecting some of our departments. Quality assurance, what before took 6 hours now can be done in a couple of minutes by a knowledgeable person. Example, generate the data set to test a mobile application or website. In the past, you needed to know how to do this. You need to be an engineer, a developer. Now I can write it myself. Prompting ChatGPT to create a data set of 2,000 specifically formatted tables in order to upload them to the website and see how that holds. There is a less need for some of the functions. However, there is no need for less engineers. There is need for engineers who have adapted to the usage and the abundance and existence of generative AI. So for us, the future is to truly become AI native company. Right now, we call ourselves and we are AI enabled business. All our engineers know how to use AI, and moreover, they know how to use several AI tools to their advantage and to the benefits of our clients. But how far this will go, that is still unknown to me. So we're following the trends. We're trying to stay ahead of the trends. We were we were part of San Francisco TED AI conference, which was just massive. The one thing that I took away from it was we're seeing the beginnings of Gen AI, not the end. Gen AI has not settled yet. So that's great. One of our company goals or mottos is never settle. So we're also never going to settle. We want to continue working with this. So this is the industry angle. And then from the company angle, we want to continue what we're doing and grow to the point where we are competing on the same level with bigger companies. There was a potential client who came to us with a question, can you please give me 250 .NET engineers? That's great. I love it. However, we only have 50 .NET engineers, and then 47 of them are placed on long-term projects. 3 are available. For me to even have a chance to bid on this project, I couldn't. I really would have no chance, and we would have lost the bid before even entering into this. Next time this opportunity comes, I would like to be able to say, great, we might not have 250 engineers available on the bench right now, but we have 200 and then 50 we will find in the next couple of weeks. The goal for me is to grow the business to the scale where we can be competitors for our bigger frenemies. And if time and opportunity presents, potentially, there is always a dream of any tech founder or any business founder is to go and ring the bell on New York Stock Exchange. So who knows? This might happen through several different opportunities. So buying the companies or joining forces with some other firms and going public together. This is also an option, and an option even for professional services businesses, not just technology businesses.
Let's switch to you, Andrey. Who influences the way that you work? Name a person or many persons or something you look up to and why.
Two people. One is and always will be my dad. He was an entrepreneur in the country where entrepreneurship was not necessarily rewarded, and it actually was punished. I grew up in the former USSR. He taught me things that you need to be resilient, you need to always be optimistic, and the meaning of sometimes enough is enough. This is something that I took away from him. I don't have fancy car or fancy clothing. I have a warm coat that covers me when it's cold and a t-shirt when it's a hot day. I always look up to him and just recognizing how much that affected me without me even knowing when I was young that it's building me, it's building who I am. And a second person whom I am constantly looking up is actually, he fits into 3 categories. He's a friend, he's a mentor, he's a advisor, actually 4 categories, a client, a former client. His name is Joel Milne, and I do want to recognize him if he ever listens to this episode that he affected me in many ways that he might not even think. He's someone who taught me how to step back and assess what's good for the business rather than what's good for me personally. What do I want versus what business needs? And just provided some guidance in life by providing the very outside looking view at Andrey that sometimes I cannot even take because I am thinking about something in the business or just being very focused and deeply rooted into existing problem. And he comes with an outside view and saying, look, focus on something else because this is where the bigger problem is. This is where 80% of the effort should be because it will give you much bigger result. And we actually started our relationships as he was a client of Distillery at a business that ultimately failed. They left us with unpaid bills. However, it was done gracefully in a way that, all right, I knew that this is coming. We had conversations and never burned bridges. I believe that in business, you just can't do this. He was the example of someone who is very business oriented, very business focused. And then we started, I asked him a thing or two. He got back to me on time, actually always almost immediately answering. We got to the point where at some moment he became an advisor of Distillery and served on our advisory board for 2 terms. And he was actually the person who single-handedly convinced me to open locations in Latin America, in Mexico and Argentina, because it's the same time zone. You know how to find good talent, you know how to find good clients, but now there is still an impediment. You want them to be in the same time zone, your engineers, because your clients will like that they can work with your talent like they're sitting in the office right next to them.
So last question, Andrey. You're getting on a plane and you're sitting next to a young entrepreneur who's built the next big thing or the next big company with professional services. They're jazzed about it. They can't wait to tell you about it. If it's a product, they can't wait to show it to you right there on the plane. What advice do you give that person, having gone down this road a bit?
Check the ego at the door and get the board together. Hire professional board directors. I wish I did it sooner. And never be afraid to ask, never be afraid to show vulnerability and potentially being seen as a weak person by asking something. It's something that I shied away for way too long, thinking that I'm the smartest guy in the room, and I wish I didn't. I wish I looked for people who are smarter than me, asking for help, sometimes begging to join the board of Distillery or Distillery itself. And yeah, the ego, when you're running the business, should not even be the part of your life. You can pat yourself on the back when you closed a good year or did something really good for the client, but you're only as good as the people around you. And it's something that I realized too late. So if I have to give an advice to this young entrepreneur who wants to build something big, That's great. You are unlikely to do this alone. And the sooner you realize this, the sooner you will start bringing people who are smarter than me without being afraid of them, the better it is for you.
That's fantastic advice. Well, Andrey, thank you for being on the show today, and thank you for telling the creation story of Distillery.
Thank you so much, Noah. I really appreciate your time as well.
And this concludes another chapter of Code Story. Code Story is hosted and produced by Noah Labhart. Be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the podcasting app of your choice. And when you get a chance, leave us a review. Both things help us out tremendously. And thanks again for listening.
If you're running a retail business, don't let disorganized order fulfillment cause chaos. Use ShipStation instead. From running a business out of your garage to multiple warehouses, ShipStation is ideal for every phase of your growth. Save time with one login for all your stores and by automating tasks. Plus, you'll get the best shipping rates from global carriers. Calm the chaos with the shipping software that delivers. Start a free trial at shipstation.com/audio. That's shipstation.com/audio.